What would you do if you paid $1,500 for your own graduation party, only to watch your parents turn it into your brother's scholarship celebration? And what if the moment you finally spoke up, 50 guests discovered the shocking truth about whose money really funded the party they were enjoying? This is the story of how I hijacked back my own hijacked graduation. Picture this. You've just walked across that stage diploma in hand, 4 years of sleepless nights, finally paying off. You're the first person in your family to graduate college, and all you want is one moment, one celebration that's actually about you. My name is Emma Parker, and this is the story of how my own father hijacked my graduation party for my younger brother Jake, and how I finally found my voice when it mattered most. Growing up in suburban Cleveland, I was always the responsible one. While my brother Jake got private SAT tutoring, elite basketball camps, and a brand new car for his 16th birthday, I was working at the local diner saving every penny for college applications. Don't get me wrong, I love my brother, but watching your parents spend thousands on his summer camps while telling you that community college might be more realistic for your future, that hits different. My dad, Tom, works as an engineer at a manufacturing plant. My mom, Sarah, teaches fourth grade. They're good people, but they've always seen Jake as their golden child. The athlete, the one with potential. And me, I was just Emma, the one who figured things out on her own. When I got that into Ohio State for marketing with partial scholarships, you'd think they'd be proud. Instead, my dad's first question was whether I'd considered staying local to help with family expenses. My mom worried about me taking on student debt. But Jake's upcoming college recruitment visits, those were investments in his future. So I worked 3 part-time jobs during college, waitressing at night, tutoring on weekends, and running social media for local businesses. While my classmates were at parties, I was balancing spreadsheets and serving tables. But you know what? I thrived. I became president of the marketing club, organized campus fundraisers that raised over $30,000 and graduated summa cum laude. I proved to myself that I didn't need anyone's permission to succeed. As graduation approached, I started planning a small celebration. Nothing fancy, just family, a few close friends, maybe some catered sandwiches in our backyard. For once, I wanted to feel like my achievements mattered. Like I mattered. When I brought up the party idea to my parents, something unexpected happened. My mom actually seemed excited. She said they'd love to host something special for me. My dad nodded along, talking about inviting extended family and making it a real celebration. For the first time in years, I felt seen by my own family. This was going to be my moment. Finally. But here's what I didn't know yet. My moment was about to become someone else's spotlight, and that someone else was my brother Jake. 3 weeks before graduation, everything started to change. 3 weeks before my graduation, my mom called me with what she called exciting news. "Emma, honey, we need to talk about the party budget. Can you transfer me that $1,500 we discussed? I want to make sure we get the good catering company." $1,500. That was half my emergency fund money I'd saved working double shifts at the diner. But this was my graduation, my one big moment. So I sent the money without hesitation. Then came the second call. "Oh, and Emma, Jake wants to say a few words at your party. You know, his motivation for his own college journey. He looks up to you so much." Something twisted in my stomach, but I pushed it down. Jake giving a short speech. That was sweet, right? My little brother being proud of me. I could handle sharing a few minutes of my spotlight, but the calls kept coming. We invited Jake's basketball team. They're all heading to college too, so it seemed appropriate. Jake's coach is coming. He's been such a mentor. Oh, and Aunt Linda is driving down specifically to congratulate Jake on his scholarship news. Wait, what scholarship news? That's when I learned that my brother had just received a full ride to Duke University for basketball. Full ride. Duke. Everything I'd worked 3 jobs to barely afford handed to him because he was tall and could shoot hoops. And my parents were turning my graduation party into his pre-celebration. I tried to stay positive. Maybe this could be good for both of us. Maybe we could share the moment. But deep down, that familiar feeling was creeping back in. The feeling of being erased, of watching someone else take center stage in my own life. 2 weeks before graduation, my mom sent me a text that made my blood run cold. Can you write a short speech about how Jake inspired your academic success? It would be so meaningful coming from his big sister. Read that again. My own mother wanted me to write a speech about how my brother inspired my academic success. My academic success. The same success I'd achieved while he was being handed everything on a silver platter. I stared at that text for 20 minutes before responding. I'll think about it. But I didn't have to think long because the next day, I found out what was really happening. I stopped by the house to drop off my cap and gown for photos. My mom was on the phone with the caterer and she didn't see me come in. Yes, the party is really to celebrate Jake's scholarship to Duke. Emma's graduation is just convenient timing. We want to make sure the focus is on his future. Convenient timing. My college graduation was convenient timing for my brother's scholarship celebration. I stood in that doorway, holding my cap and gown, listening to my mother plan my party around someone else's achievements. And for the first time in my life, I felt something different than disappointment. I felt angry, not the quiet, swallow-it-down anger I'd learned to live with. Real anger, the kind that burns in your chest and demands action. That night, I sat in my tiny apartment staring at the speech my mother wanted me to write, the speech about how Jake inspired my success. And instead, I started writing a different speech entirely. A speech about what it feels like to be invisible in your own family, about working 3 jobs while your brother gets handed opportunities, about being told your dreams should be realistic while his dreams get funded, about what happens when the responsible one finally stops being responsible for everyone else's feelings. I wasn't going to let them turn my graduation party into Jake's pregame show. Not this time. The question was, did I have the courage to actually give that speech 1 week before the party I was about to find out? 1 week before the party, I discovered something that changed everything. I was helping my mom address invitations when I found a draft email on her laptop. She'd left it open, and the subject line made me freeze. Jake Parker's Scholarship Celebration, May 15th. May 15th, my graduation day. The email invitation didn't mention my graduation once. Not once. It was entirely about celebrating Jake's incredible achievement and his bright future at Duke University. There was a line at the bottom that said, Emma's college completion will also be acknowledged. College completion. 4 years of Dean's List grades leadership positions and working myself to exhaustion had been reduced to college completion, like I'd finished a community workshop instead of earning a marketing degree summa cum laude. I screenshot that email and sent it to myself. Then I kept digging. I found the catering order. Jake Parker celebration, 50 guests. Are the decorations order? Congratulations, Jake, Duke Blue Devils theme. Even the cake design featured a basketball and Duke's logo. My $1,500 had paid for my brother's party. In my honor. I confronted my mom that afternoon. She was in the kitchen arranging the Duke-themed napkins she'd ordered. Mom, we need to talk. She looked up all smiles. Oh, Emma, you're going to love how this turns out. Jake's so excited to share this moment with you. Share this moment, Mom? This is supposed to be my graduation party. Her smile faltered slightly. Well, yes, of course, but Jake's scholarship is such wonderful news, and it makes sense to celebrate both of you together. It's more efficient this way. More efficient? Mom, I paid for this party. With money I earned working 3 jobs, and you've turned it into Jake's scholarship announcement. Emma, don't be dramatic. You're both being celebrated. Where's my name on the invitations? Where's anything about my degree, my achievements? She set down the napkins and sighed like I was being unreasonable. Emma, you've always been so independent. You don't need the same kind of support Jake does. He's at a crucial point in his life. College recruitment scholarship opportunities. This visibility could really help his future. And what about my future? What about my past 4 years of work? Honey, you're going to be fine. You always figure things out. Jake needs more guidance. There it was. The truth I'd been avoiding my whole life. I didn't need support because I'd learned to survive without it. Jake needed support because he'd never had to. That night, my dad came to my apartment. I thought maybe finally someone was going to acknowledge what was happening. Emma, your mother told me you're upset about the party. Dad, I'm not upset. I'm hurt. And I'm angry. This was supposed to be my celebration. He sat down heavily on my couch. Look, sweetheart, I know this isn't ideal, but Jake's opportunity is time-sensitive. These college connections matter. Your graduation is wonderful, but it's already done. Jake's future is just beginning. My future is just beginning too. I'm 22 years old. You're different, Emma. You're strong. You don't need validation the way Jake does. And there it was again. I was being punished for my own strength, for not falling apart when things got hard, for not demanding attention when I needed support. Dad, what if I told you I do need validation? What if I told you that watching you celebrate Jake while ignoring my achievements has hurt me for years? He looked genuinely surprised. Emma, we're proud of you. We've always been proud of you. When have you shown me you're proud? When did you ever prioritize my achievements over Jake's potential? He couldn't answer, because the answer was never. That's when I made my decision. I was going to that party. I was going to smile and play along until the perfect moment. And then I was going to tell everyone exactly whose celebration they were really attending. I spent the next 3 days perfecting my speech. Not the one my mother wanted me to write about Jake. The one about me, about what it means to succeed despite being overlooked, about paying for your own celebration and watching it get hijacked, about what happens when the invisible child finally demands to be seen. The day of the party arrived and I was ready. What I wasn't ready for was just how far my family would go to erase me from my own celebration. I arrived at my own party 15 minutes late and nobody noticed. The backyard was packed with people I barely recognized. Jake's basketball teammates, his coach college scouts, extended family members who'd driven hours to celebrate his scholarship. Duke blue and white streamers hung everywhere, and a banner across the patio read, "Congratulations, Jake, Duke bound." My graduation cap sat on a side table next to the appetizers. Jake was holding court near the basketball hoop my dad had installed for him in middle school, describing his recruitment process to a circle of admiring relatives. My parents stood beside him, beaming with pride. I stood there, in my own backyard, watching my family celebrate someone else with money I'd earned at a party supposedly for me. And something inside me snapped. My mom spotted me first. "Emma, there you are. Come meet Jake's coach. He wants to congratulate you on your graduation." The coach shook my hand politely. Congratulations on finishing college. You must be so proud of your brother. Duke is an incredible opportunity." Before I could respond, my dad appeared with a microphone he'd borrowed from our neighbor. Everyone, can I have your attention?" The crowd gathered around. I found myself pushed to the edge of the circle, watching my father prepare to address my graduation party. "Thank you all for coming to celebrate this incredible milestone with our family. Today marks the beginning of an amazing journey for our son Jake, who has earned a full scholarship to Duke University." Applause erupted. People cheered. Jake grinned and waved. Jake has worked so hard for this opportunity, and we couldn't be prouder. His dedication to basketball, his leadership on the team, his commitment to excellence. It's all led to this moment. More applause. My mother wiped away tears of joy. Jake represents everything we hoped for in our children. The drive, the talent, the character to succeed at the highest level. And today we also acknowledge Emma's completion of her college program. Completion of my college program. That was it. 4 years of my life reduced to 6 words wedged between paragraphs about my brother's greatness. And now, Jake would like to say a few words about his exciting future. My father handed the microphone to my brother. Jake looked nervous, but excited. He started talking about his dreams, his gratitude, his plans for Duke. I listened to him thank our parents for their unwavering support. I listened to him thank his coach for believing in him. I listened to him talk about the scholarship that would cover everything: tuition, room, board, books. Everything I'd worked 3 jobs to afford handed to him for being tall. And then Jake said something that shattered my last thread of patience. I also want to thank my sister Emma for showing me that with enough work, anyone can achieve their goals. Even without natural talent, persistence pays off. Even without natural talent. The crowd chuckled appreciatively. My own brother had just told 50 people that my academic success was due to lack of talent, compensated by persistence. Like I was the slow kid who tried really hard. That's when I started walking toward the center of the circle. Jake, can I borrow that microphone for a minute? The crowd turned to look at me. Jake looked confused, but handed over the mic. Thank you. I just wanted to say a few words about today's celebration. My parents looked pleased. They probably thought I was finally going to play along, maybe give that speech about how Jake inspired me. I want to start by thanking everyone for coming, especially those of you who drove hours to be here. I know this meant a lot to Jake. Nods and smiles around the circle. I also want to thank my parents for hosting this event. The decorations are beautiful, the food is delicious, and I appreciate all the effort that went into planning this. My mother beamed. My father nodded approvingly. There's just one small thing I need to clarify. See, this party was originally planned to celebrate my graduation from Ohio State University, where I earned a bachelor's degree in marketing summa cum laude while working 3 part-time jobs and serving as president of the marketing club. The crowd's energy shifted slightly. A few people looked confused. I paid for this party myself. The $1,500 for catering came from my savings. The decorations, the venue, the food you're enjoying, all funded by the girl who graduated without natural talent, but with a lot of persistence. My father's face had gone pale. My mother looked like she wanted to disappear. Now, I love my brother Jake. I'm proud of his scholarship. Duke is an amazing opportunity. But I think some of you might be surprised to learn that this party was supposed to be about my achievement, not his. The silence was deafening. You see, today is my graduation day. Right now, while you're all here, my classmates are walking across the stage at Ohio State to receive their diplomas. I chose to be here instead because my family told me they wanted to celebrate my achievement. Jake was staring at me in shock. Several relatives looked uncomfortable. The basketball coach started checking his phone. So I just wanted to make sure everyone knew whose party they're actually attending, whose money paid for the celebration, and whose achievements are being acknowledged today. I handed the microphone back to Jake. Congratulations on your scholarship, little brother. You're going to do great at Duke. Then I turned to address the entire crowd one more time. Thank you all for coming to my graduation party. Please enjoy the food I bought and feel free to celebrate whatever you'd like. The backyard had gone completely silent. 50 people stared at me like I just detonated a bomb, which I guess I had. For 30 seconds, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The only sound was the neighbor's dog barking in the distance. Then Jake broke the silence. Emma, I had no idea. I thought Mom and Dad planned this for both of us. His voice was quiet, and for the first time all day, he sounded like my little brother instead of the family golden boy. I didn't know you paid for it? I didn't know it was supposed to be your party. My father cleared his throat. Emma, perhaps we should discuss this privately. No, Dad, we've had this discussion privately my whole life. Every time I needed support and got told to figure it out myself. Every time Jake needed something and the whole family mobilized to help him. Every time my achievements got overshadowed by his potential. Several relatives started making excuses to leave. The basketball coach quietly slipped out the back gate. But some people stayed. My Aunt Linda, who'd driven 3 hours thinking she was coming to celebrate Jake, walked over to me. Emma, honey, I had no idea today was your graduation. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. Then my mom's sister Carol spoke up. Wait, Emma, you graduated summa cum laude while working 3 jobs? That's incredible. More family members started approaching me. People I'd barely talked to all day suddenly wanted to hear about my degree, my achievements, my plans for the future. It was like I'd been invisible and suddenly materialized. Jake set down the microphone and walked over to me. Emma, I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said about natural talent. You're the smartest person I know, and you've worked harder than anyone in our family. He hugged me, and I could feel him shaking slightly. I don't want Duke if it means you get ignored. That's not fair. Jake, go to Duke. You earned that scholarship. Just remember that other people work hard too, even when it's not as visible. My parents stood together near the patio door looking shell-shocked. Other guests were gradually leaving, but a small group remained genuinely interested in celebrating my graduation. Around 7 o'clock, after most people had gone home, my father approached me. I was sitting on the porch steps, emotionally exhausted, but somehow lighter than I'd felt in years. Emma, can we talk? I looked up at him. Sure, Dad. He sat down beside me, and for a long moment neither of us spoke. I owe you an apology. A big one. I waited. Your mother and I, we got so caught up in Jake's opportunities that we forgot you might need support too. We took your strength for granted. We assumed because you always figured things out, you didn't need us to show up for you. His voice cracked slightly. But needing less help doesn't mean deserving less recognition. And what we did today, hijacking your party, spending your money to celebrate someone else, there's no excuse for that. I felt tears starting to form, but they weren't sad tears. Dad, I don't need you to fix everything. I just need you to see me, to acknowledge that my achievements matter too. They do matter. Emma, what you've accomplished is extraordinary. College degree, summa cum laude, working 3 jobs, leadership positions. You did all of that with almost no support from us. That's not just impressive, it's inspiring. My mom appeared in the doorway behind us. Emma, I need to apologize too. I convinced myself that combining your celebrations was practical, but really, I was just more excited about Jake's news. That was wrong. Your graduation deserves its own celebration. She sat down on my other side. I want to throw you a proper graduation party next weekend. Just for you, with your friends, your achievements highlighted, and absolutely no basketball themes. I laughed despite myself. Mom, I don't need another party. I just needed to feel valued by my own family. You are valued. We did a terrible job showing it, but you are so valued. 3 hours later, after we'd cleaned up the backyard and put away the Duke decorations, the 4 of us sat around our kitchen table with leftover cake. No fanfare, no speeches, just family conversation. Jake told me about his anxiety over living up to his scholarship. I told him about my job interviews and career plans. My parents actually listened, asked questions, and treated both of our futures as equally important. That night, I learned something crucial about standing up for yourself. When you finally demand to be seen, you don't just change how others treat you. You change how you see yourself. I didn't need my family's permission to be proud of my achievements. I didn't need their validation to know my worth. But having it felt pretty good too. 6 months later, Jake called me from Duke. He was struggling with the pressure, the competition, the workload. For the first time in our lives, he was asking me for advice instead of the other way around. Emma, how did you handle working so much while keeping your grades up? How did you stay motivated when things got hard? I helped him figure out time management study strategies and ways to handle stress. The responsible older sister, but this time by choice rather than default. And my parents, they started showing up differently. They came to my job interviews, celebrated my promotion, and learned to ask about my life without immediately shifting focus to Jake's latest update. That graduation party disaster taught me the most important lesson of my adult life. Sometimes the people who love you need to be reminded that you exist, and sometimes you have to remind them loudly enough that they can't ignore you anymore. Standing up for yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. And it's never too late to demand the recognition you deserve. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family or had your achievements overshadowed by someone else's potential, I want you to know that your success matters. Your hard work matters, and you don't need anyone's permission to celebrate yourself. Sometimes, the best gift you can give yourself is refusing to be erased from your own story. What do you think? Have you ever had to fight for recognition in your own family? Share your story in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more real-life drama stories. Your experiences matter, and someone out there needs to hear that they're not alone.